Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. You'll find all the product I use and all the dimensions listed below. You'll also find a link to my online store. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. There's also my email address. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. I do answer all of my emails. And finally, there is a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that group. Finally, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to help me grow in YouTube world. And if you ring the little bell, you'll be notified when I go live. Well, I've made some Easter cards about a week ago, and maybe a week and a half ago. Anyhow, I decided it was time to make another Easter card. The other ones had the bunnies and stuff, which are suitable for children and people who are young at heart, but I thought I would make a little one that was a little more floral. And so I took out the two-tone Flora because I really love that set. And we're going to make the cards with these two. So let me show you what we're going to be making. Here's our envelope. And this is a tri-fold angle card. We have a nice little belly band. It slides off. A little stamping inside. This says Happy Easter, enjoy all the little moments. And it folds up like that with a little belly band. So, before we get going, or to get going I should say, we're going to do all of our stamping first and our die cutting. I'll set this off to the side here. So, what we need to start is we need, of course, our envelope. We need our inside mat, which is 4 by 5 1/4. We will need a stamp and pierce mat because all of these are photopolymer stamps. And we are going to need some scrap paper, which I have a little stack off to the side here. So first we're going to go ahead and do our small flower that we're going to put on the front of our envelope. And the colors we're using today are Fresh Freesia, Soft Succulent, and Highland Heather. Now on the first card, bring this back out. This was Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather, and this was Balmy Blue and Pool Party, because I went with the colors that were in the paper. Now, many of you, this is the two-tone Flora paper. I can't remember if it's actually called that or not. What's it called? Hang on, I forgot the name of the paper. It's called Fancy Flora. Now, if you look at the packaging for the Fancy Flora paper, it has Balmy Blue, but it doesn't have any of the other colors I used in here. Because I started looking at this, and these were the colors that I was seeing in the paper. So that's what I used by looking at the paper. And I looked at a different set of paper for this next card. So that's why we're changing the colors. Also, we're going to do stamping off of colors to create the flowers for this one. So I think we'll do Fresh Freesia for the outside of the envelope, since the last one I did. And this is our solid stamp. I like to do the solid stamp first. And we are going to stamp off and then put it on our envelope like that. And then what I like to do on these, because you do have to line them up. Now this one has little teeny dots. Let's see if you can see it in there. See the little teeny spots in there? What you want to do is line this up, and I'm sorry if I'm getting my head in here, I'm trying not to. I need to line these up, and I like to sit and figure out how this goes on here. And it's going to go right about like that. I like to sit and find out which direction my stamp is going before I ink it up. And then we're going to try to line that up as close as I can through this camera. And then we get that look. So that's our envelope. The inside of our card, we're going to do the outside and the inside simultaneously because we're going to be using the same colors. So this is the largest of the florals. And this is the inside of our card. And we're going to stamp out of fresh freesia. Oh, I didn't stamp off. Good thing there's two sides to the panel. Stamp off. Stamp this one on. Set that off here real quick. This is my scrap because we're going to be cutting these out. We'll stamp off and stamp that one. So we need two of each. And here is the detailed stamp. And if you look at this one, let's see if I can hold this up so you can see it. There is little, you can see the little petals or little stamen in there. How it lines up. And the bottom also lines up pretty good, and it goes about like that. So it looks like this. It gives the flowers a totally different look than the first card. And we'll bring this one back in for the corner. And line this one up. That one there. Now we need to clean both of these stamps. We're done with the fresh freesia. I've got my stamp and scrub off to the side here. As I've said, always keep it away from your projects so you don't get any splatter on them. And then we're going to grab Highland Heather. We're going to do the same thing. Except this time I'll remember to stamp off. And I want to turn this one a little bit. And then this one, bring it in and stamp off. And then we're going to bring in the petals again. That nice. It's a very soft look. And I turned this a little more, so let's see here. There we go for the inside of the card. Now we need to finish this. What color do I want to use in the inside? I think we're going to go ahead and use the Highland Heather on this one. Now on this stamp, I have mounted Happy Easter, enjoy all the little moments one time. And I've showed how to do that before. You just line it up on your grid paper, whatever you're using. Make sure everybody's nice and straight. Just like that. And many of you know I have cut my Happy Easter apart, and I just set it back together to stamp it as one. All right, we need one more piece to this card. That's the inside done. We need one more piece, is we need some leaves. And I'm going to use soft succulent. And we're going to do this one here. And we'll put one there. I'm curious. Since we've muted these, I'm going to go ahead and stamp out this off again. And I can, no, I'm not going to fit him in there. Just one moment. Since we've muted this color on the others, I decided to maybe do, ooh, that's awful. Just one moment. If you don't like the way something turns out, restamp it. You'll be happier. Stamp off. Because I think the lighter flowers might look nice because we've muted a lot of the color. So that is all the stamping. Now we need to do some die cutting. And you know what? I grabbed everything out of my case except for the dies I needed. That wasn't very smart of me. I believe it's this one. Yep, it's that one and this one. Grab a little Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, aka Little Cranky. And I'm just going to grab some snips. Actually, big scissors. Just so they fit through the machine a little bit better. And if I cut these apart, I could actually, now I'll save this one for something later. Already stamped him, don't want to waste him. We could do 2 at a time. And these line up really quite easily. And I'm gonna use that one. And this guy lines up. Oop, got it backwards. Like that. There's one of our flowers. And one of our leaves. Bring them back on here. Get out the fresh freesia. And the other leaves here. Sorry about the chimes, but it is windy outside. We've been experiencing rather weird weather. Uh-oh, this one slid. Something terrible. We can't use him. So, what should we do since I made such a mess of that die cut? Well, let me think on this for a second. I think we have to restamp him. There is no other way around it. I'm sorry, but it's a pretty fast fix. There's one of those scraps of paper I had. And my stamping mat, which is right here. This is what happens sometimes. Things slide, move. Happens to everyone. There we go. Let's turn this over this time. Sorry about the little delay, but like I said, I don't edit my videos, and I do make mistakes like everybody else. I am human. And some mistakes just need to be redone. There's just no way of fixing them. And that looks good now. much better. Since I don't want half of one. Let me get this out of our way. And get all of our scraps out of our way. Because it is now time to build the actual card now that we have all of our pieces stamped. So, we have a lot of paper. So we're going to go over the main body of this first. Oh, I think its tag came off. I know its tag came off. So, you need a piece of, we'll just go over all the sizes now. This is a piece of Highland Heather, and it is 11 by 5 1/4 or 5 1/2. You need a piece of Highland Heather that is 9 1/2 by 1 1/4 for the belly band, which we will do later. This is a die cut of Highland Heather, and this is from the Scalloped shape contours. This one here, which is the second from the smallest. That is for part of our belly band. And then you will need, oh, there's that one. And then you need 2 pieces of DSP that are 3 1/4 by 5 3/8. And those are the 2 ones I picked there. So, like I said, your space as you work just gets smaller and smaller. At least mine does. So, I'm going to use my trimmer for this one, because we're going to be doing some cutting as well as scoring. So what you're going to do is you are going to score this at 3 3/8. Now you can score it, turn it and score it at 3 3/8 again, or you can move it down to 7 5/8 and score. Okay, now we're going to take and set this aside for a second. I'm not burnishing this yet. I'm just folding my full score lines real gently here, so I know exactly where they're at. You're going to need a pencil and a ruler. And hang on, make sure I have this right. This is going to come down. You want to come down 1/2 inch and make a little tick mark. And from the right side here from the bottom, you're going to make one at 1 inch. And then from this side here, you're going to make another one at 1 inch. And then coming down the top here, we're going to come down 1 1/2. Okay. Now, I've seen other people make this card and not put tick marks in. They just use the scoreboard to get. If you feel comfortable, you can do that. I think I get it more precise doing it this way. Now we're going to cut. What we're going to do is from this top one here, from the 1 1/2 mark to this score line, we are going to cut. So we'll put it in the trimmer here. We're going to cut this one. The other one, I'm going to just turn it around this side so it's easier for me to see my little mark. Put it in, put that in the trimmer. Cut that one. And then this one here, the bottom, we're going to come up to this mark here. Put it both in. Now, I like to cut not from a point because sometimes you'll squish your point. I like to cut from the flat edge. Come up. And then this one, from there to the point, and cut up. So we'll set this aside for just a moment. We're not done cutting yet, because what I want to do is I want to take my eraser before I forget. Just give a little rub You may have cut most of it off, but there may be a little bit left. Get rid of those before you forget. So now we can take and grab our bone folder. Now give it a good burnish. You can burnish it before. I just find it a little easier to lay it on my cutting board if it hasn't been burnished. So that's how the card looks, just like that. Okay. So now we need to work on our DSP. So we, like I said, we have two pieces that are 3 1/4 by 5 3/8. Okay, take one of them and flip it over. Make sure you have your paper going the direction you want, which this is. You're going to take your pencil again and your ruler, which, didn't I just have a ruler here a minute ago? Oh, there it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, from on the 5 3/8 side, we are going to come down and make a tick mark at 1 5/8. Now I'm going to turn this so I can see my numbers. So there's a 1/2 and 5/8. I'm making a tick mark on the back side. And then on the bottom, this is the 3 1/4 side, from the right side, so your tick mark's right here, from the right side, you're making one at 1 inch. Just like that. Oh, yeah. I'm still on the back side. You have to remember which one you're using for the back side. Then you're going to take and you're going to bring your trimmer back in. You're going to cut both of these at one time. What you do is you want to kiss, so basically the pieces that you want to be on the outside, which is these two, we are going to kiss them together like this. That's why we marked it on the back. And you can see the score line barely. I can see it. And we're going to cut from that score line to this point, and from this score line to the point there. So make sure your papers are all nice and straight and going the right direction. Once again, I'm going to move this so I make sure I am not we'll cut that there. And this, bringing this down because I don't want to hit it at the point, especially on the DSP. And up. Whoa. That was my teacup. So these are the two pieces, and you notice they won't go this way. You have to go this direction. Okay, and they're going to sit in like this. Now the measurements across here are not exact precise. Cutting for this is a little finicky. You see how this comes up and is not quite enough. So what I like to do is just move it down a little bit and make less of a border at the bottom and more at the top. Just like that. And then this one will come over. Like I said, the borders are very small on this. And a lot of it has to do with how accurate you were when you make your measurements and stuff. It's very finicky. But I think it's cool. Even if they're a little off, they're cool. So I'm going to go ahead and first put our insides in. Just like that. I'm going to flip this over so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Now, if you're not happy with the borders you're getting on this, the bottom's good, the sides are not bad, but it's a little off right here. You see how it's a little close right there. You can do this. I'm going to put the end in, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to take off literally 1/8 of an inch. And it's probably because my measurements were a little off when I scored it. but it gives me a little more room there and a little better border. Doing angles sometimes can be very finicky. If one measurement's off just a hair, it throws everything else off. So sometimes you have to give it a little tweak. And there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, this is a handmade card. Now this one's the same thing. It could just use just a little off this one. So I'm going to do that again. Every card I've made of this style has had to be tweaked. And I don't know why. I've tried to change the dimensions. If you change the dimensions, it doesn't work as well. So it's better just to size the piece to what you're making. But it's fairly easy to do. Like that. That gave me exactly what I needed. It could be that I scored one on a scoreboard. I didn't get my paper just moved over, and when I scored it properly, you know, just a hair will cause that. So like I said, just make the trim where you need it when you go to place your paper. And then it all works. And keep in mind, the person who you're giving this to probably is not going to notice or care because they got a handmade card from you. So that is the base of our card. I love the stamping like that. And you can close it either way you want. I think I want to close it this way, a little more pink on this instead of the bluish colors. Now onto our belly band. I said that was 9.5 by 1 1/8. And if you excuse me one moment, I'm going to have a sip of that tea. Yes, it's iced tea. You can hear the ice rattling. Okay, so belly bands. I've been told, people tell me they don't like belly bands. They like belly bands. They don't like making belly bands. So hold your piece in the back. This one's going to attach in the front. Fold the first corner over. And make the first one snug, okay? Make this snug. Then lay it down and gently fold the next one over, but don't make it as snug. Let it bow a little bit. And then push back a little bit. When you do that, it gives it that room to move like this. So what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to add some glue here. So I know other people, I went stamping, we were playing with belly bands here a few weeks ago, and I was watching people, they're trying to fold both sides at once. If you fold one snug and fold the second one, it works much better. So this is going to go on here like this. So I'm going to add the glue right here in the center. And this is like the little stage to build our bouquet on. Oh, I got a little high. I got a little high here. You want to stamp so you're down lower than this. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. It happens. I'm not going to change it. So next we have our little flowers here. If I can pick them up. So we're going to put them in here. We're going to put them up on dimensionals, which have golden legs on my desk. And I'm going to put 2 in the middle. I'm going to leave the edges open. I'm only going to put 2 on this one. So it goes about like that. And then I'm going to look where I want to put this one at. I want it angled about like that. So I'm only going to put 1 on this side. I'm going to put a touch of glue right here. So we glue that. There, so we're up on dimensionals that way. And then we have these 2 pieces. I want one to come out like this. I'll put some glue on the end here. Ooh, way too much. Spread it out a little bit. Tuck it underneath. As long as you don't come outside of your card, you're fine. And then this one, I'll test it here, make sure I can do that. Yep, right about like that. Make sure I'm inside my dimension, my area there for the card. Like that. And then I needed some bling. So I went for 2 different types of bling. First was a butterfly. I want a little butterfly to rest right here inside of one of the flowers. And these are the pastel pearls. And you could go darker, you could go lighter. I'm actually thinking about using this pink here on this one. No, I'm going to stick with the purple. I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put one right here. And I think the other one I'll put right there. And that is our card for today. It's a nice little Easter card. Like I said, I made a mistake when I stamped here. You want to make sure that you are down at least 1 and a quarter from the top when you stamp your sentiment. I didn't check that, and that was my mistake. But I can live with it. So anyhow, that is the Easter card. And this is the first one I made with the multiple colors and a different DSP. So look through your paper. You don't have to use this one. If you have it, you might want to look through it and see what papers really make you happy, and do something and pull out colors that aren't necessarily listed, but do go with the paper. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy this video, and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that, and have a nice day. Goodbye.